Hello and welcome to my channel. I am YoyaFabulosa and I need to tell you all what happened. So what happened to me last week was I went out to Memorial Day weekend with a friend. It was an alright night. The music was kind of The drinks were really expensive. There was a $20 entry fee. I just knew I did not want to be there. I had to go. So, while the dance floor, my friend just kind of dancing. I'm like, we need to get going. We need to go before everyone else here and they mom trying to leave too. And I am not about that. So we leave the club and she calls an Uber. And I'm just like, I trust you to call an Uber. We're going to be fine. So she calls the Uber. I'm looking around, just waiting for this Uber. And it finally arrives. And I'm just like, oh, there's the Uber. So we go over to the Uber. My friend darts around the car to get to the front seat, and I'm like, oh, I guess I sit in the back. Sit in the back seat, right? Open the door, get in the back seat, realize, oh, there's someone else in the car with us. My friend got us in an UberPool. Great. Well, the first thing I notice about this guy is that he's relatively attractive. He's in his early 30s, maybe late 20s. He's Colombian, which he later discloses in the conversation. And he's cute. So we're in the car, we're driving, and my friend verifies everyone's name. We're all in the car, we're going. We realize that we're the first destination, or she realizes that, but I have no idea. I'm just in the backseat of the car. Backseat of the car with this guy, first thing he tells me is, he looks at me and he's just, are you crazy? And I'm just like, how do you mean? Because I figured when he asked if I was crazy with this heavy Spanish accent, that he was insinuating I was drunk. So I said, what do you mean? And he's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And he tusked at me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? You've got a beautiful girl in the backseat of the car, and you're just tusking at me? What's going on? Tusk? What are we in the Ice Age? Do you have tusk? Anyways, so he kind of tusks at me, and I'm just like, okay. And he says again, are you crazy? And after the third, are you crazy? I'm starting to realize this guy is not an ally, and he's not very happy with who he has been chosen to share this ride with. Really, he should be privileged, because, I'm a hot-ass bitch. Anyways, so my friend in the front of the car, she starts to pipe in, and she's like, what's going on back there? And he asks her, are you drunk? And she starts laughing. She says, are you drunk? And he's like, yeah, I'm drunk. And I'm like, it's pretty clear you're drunk. We're all drunk. And he looks at me like, and I'm just like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you, sir. But he laughs again, chuckles, and says to me, did you go out tonight? And I said, I did go out tonight. Me and my friend did go out tonight. Can't you tell by our attire? We're driving, and at one point he kind of shuts us off. He tells us to both shut up. Like, just shut up, because we're all talking in the car. Just kind of, chatter. It's just chatter. And he tells me to shut up, and he tells my friend to shut up. So I'm just like, what? So then my friend says to him, what's your problem? He just says, everything's good, we're good, just shut up. And I'm like, you're kind of aggressive. And he puts his hands in my face. Shut up, shut up. I'm just like, what is his problem? So I say to my friend in Espanol, I say, él no quiere hablar. And he starts to chuckle and laugh, and he says, entiendo. And I was like, I know you understand. It's very apparent that you speak Spanish too, because he has a very heavy Spanish accent. Come on. I was speaking Spanish to kind of open him up a bit. Maybe he was more comfortable speaking Spanish. So, the whole entire conversation from this point on is in Spanish between me and my friend. The only person in this car that doesn't speak Spanish is the Uber driver. Anyways, so we're in the car and we're all speaking Spanish now. He's like, I'm like, I know you speak Spanish. And he starts chuckling and asks me again if I'm crazy. And I just decide to ignore him. So this grown-ass man tells us to be quiet, and we're just like, whatever, we're going to give him a moment. So we simmer down for 30 seconds, and then, right, we get a bit quiet. We decide, it's been 30 seconds, he's good. We had a moment of silence. And then me and my friend just continue our conversation. And so we're continuing our conversation, and things start to simmer down, and we're just both quiet now. I pull out my phone, and I start playing a game on my phone. I start playing Pokemon. And then this man starts to be more chatty. He's just like, are you crazy? Hey, are you crazy? And I'm like, what do you mean? And then he just starts laughing. And I'm just ignoring him. And then him and my friend start speaking to each other in Spanish. They were kind of getting heated. And in Spanish, he calls me a faggot. And he says I'm a retard. And I'm just like, oh, really? Okay. You're going to be an ass to me? All right. So angry. So he starts calling me these things, and I just say, listen, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight you. And he mocks me. He's like, haha, starts laughing at me. And I'm like, I really don't want any trouble. I'm playing Pokemon right now. Let me just enjoy my game, enjoy the ride. And he's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And I'm just like, I ignore him. Start playing my game, start playing Pokemon. He grabs my hand and just puts it on his crotch. Just grabs it and puts it on his crotch. I immediately snap my hand back and look at him and say, are you crazy? Are you insane? And he starts laughing, and he says he's drunk, and I was like, I'm drunk too, but you need to behave. That's when my friend jumps in and says, hey, you need to behave back there. And she was really serious with him. She was not happy with him. But I was like, you know what? I texted her. I said, I can handle him. He's no big deal. Just ignore him. We're getting closer to our home, and there's some silence in the car. The Uber driver, he has no idea what's going on because this is all in Spanish. So he has no idea what's going on, and I'm just in the back seat trying to play my game, but I can't focus. So I close the game, and I look over at him, and he looks over at me, and he starts laughing again. He just starts chuckling, and I say to him, "What's your problem?" And he just like starts laughing. I was like, "Why did you grab me earlier? Like that's not cool." And again, just, "Are you crazy? Look at you. Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "Okay, all right. How big's your dick, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, you want to see?" And he smacks his crotch. And I said, "Oh, do you mind?" And I grab his leg. I said, "Oh, is that big, really?" And I pull my hand back, and he starts laughing and asks me if I'm crazy. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I had my hand on this man's, on his thighs. So I was like, "That's interesting. He's very receptive to my touch." So we're getting closer to the house. I open up my phone again, and I just like start texting my friend. I'm like, "I think this guy is kind of receptive to me," but she has no idea because she's just, listening to the radio in the car. And so I'm looking over at the guy, and I notice he starts texting too on his phone, and I see on the back wall, or the wallpaper of his cell phone, it's a picture of him and a little boy. And I ask him, I say, "Oh, is that your son?" And he looks at me, like laughs, and tells me to mind my business. And I start laughing. I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, he's cute." And then he gets in my face, and he's just like, "What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Are you crazy?" And I'm just like, "I'm fine." Grabs my hand, looks at it because my nails are painted, and he's just like, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Huh?" And I take my hand, and I put my finger on his lips, and I say, "I'm not crazy. I'm not." And then he puts his finger on my lips and tells me, "Shut up. Shut up." So he starts doing the shut up thing again. So like, what is this man's problem? This grown-ass homophobe who called me faggot and called me a retard. What is his problem? Like, what is this grown man's problem? So at this point, I'm just like, I know we're getting close to home because we're like 2 blocks away. And I know the street. So I look at him, and I get in his face, and I say, "What's your problem?" And he gets back in my face and says, "Nothing." He just laughs. He just gets back in my face, and he chuckles. And that's when I decide. I'm like, okay. And we're just looking at each other, and looking at each other's eyes. Our eyes are locked. And I just licked his lips. Just licked his lips. And he was kind of startled by it. He kind of like, moved back a little bit. It was like, but then he just laughed. He chuckled. So I noticed he was quite receptive. I was like, okay. So that's when I just went in for the kiss. I just kissed him. Just went in. We were just making out. Our tongues were wrestling. I was caressing his face. I had my hands on his thighs, and I was just slapping his thighs. His hands were on me too. We were just making out in the backseat of this car. The Uber driver was like, "What the fuck is going on?" He was looking at us like, what happened? But that's what happened. So we're just making it on the backseat. We're just passionate. It's just hot. It's the hottest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, we're just wrestling tongues. And I'm just wrestling tongues with a stranger man who's a homophobic bastard. You may not like gay people, but you sure as hell want YoyaFabulosa. So I gave it to him. I gave him just a taste. And so as the car arrived, we were still making out. My friend got out of the car, opened the back seat, and was like, "What are you doing? Get in." We're just like going in, making out, just tongues wrestling. And then I'm like, oh. To go. And I said to him, "Would you like my phone number?" And he starts laughing and says, "You're crazy." And I said, "Okay, I guess you don't want my phone number." And then he hands me his phone, and I say, "Oh, take his phone." I call myself. He has second thoughts, and he's like, no, wait. And I'm like, "I'm just calling myself, so I have your number too." And there it is. Have a good night. Gave him a good night kiss, and then we walked on our way. And the whole time, my dear friend, she had missed everything. She's like, "That guy was an asshole." I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I got his number." She's like, "What? Why? Why would you get that asshole's number?" I was like, "Did you not just see us making out the last 2 minutes of that ride?" "You guys are making out?" "Yes, our tongues are in each other's throats." "What were you doing?" And she was like, and I was like, "You're a stupid bitch." Anyways, that's what happened. I hope you enjoyed my video. This is a true story. This took place on Memorial Day weekend. I think this was last Sunday. And it was hot. One of the hottest experiences I've ever had in my life. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And let me know, what would you do if you were in an UberPool with me in the back seat? Let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe once more, and thanks for watching. We were kissing like...
And see.